Well, the Muslim community is growing by leaps and bounds. In the United States as well, obviously, as
that business is an operating subsidiary of the bank, which is run 100% under Sharia principles. So all of the employees of that business are operating in a Sharia-compliant environment.
so it's almost like a silo, a separate section of your bank that you work in. It's all Sharia compliant.
Correct.
What kind of products do you have?
Well, currently we're offering residential financings and commercial real estate financings. We also have the only U.S. FDIC-insured profit-sharing deposit product. We're also the only bank in the United States that has an operating subsidiary. There's 3 levels of activity that a bank can be involved in the Islamic banking industry in. You can have a window, which is just having products. You can have an operating subsidiary, which is where we're at, and you can have a full-scale Islamic bank. We're not obviously a full-scale Islamic bank because we have other interest-related activities.
Okay, so then if you're in that services sector, how do you make money in this whole, you know, traditionally a bank gives you a mortgage, they collect the interest, they make the money that way. How do you make money in your bank?
Well, just because there's no interest doesn't mean there's no revenue coming in. So in fact, the payments on, for example, a house financing are going to be very similar to the conventional price. And in the case of the conventional, you have interest and principal payments. In the case of Islamic finance, you have perhaps lease and principal payments towards purchase on account of the home under one of the 3 structures that we use. You know, the interesting thing there is people would say, well, Josh, if it's the same amount of money, what's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Well, it all comes down to process, right? So if you think about it, if you have a kosher cheeseburger and you have a non-kosher cheeseburger, and Muslims would say halal and haram, okay, for kosher and non-kosher, it's going to look the same, it's going to taste the same, it's going to you know, have the same ingredients perhaps, but maybe it's made in a different process, maybe better ingredients. So process is everything when it comes to this, and that's where the differences are. So for example, there's no mortgage, there's no note, there's no personal recourse in an Islamic transaction for an individual buying a home. You know, in the United States, if you default on the home and the home is sold by the bank for less than the mortgage amount and the note amount, you could still go after the individual for the deficiency balance. In Islamic finance, that's not permitted. Unless
so does that change your risk profile? Does it improve or worsen your risk profile as a bank?
Yeah, it actually would. Tend to make our risk profile a little more risky, but there's a major countervailing factor there which makes our profile much less risky than a conventional bank, and that is the depositors are receiving profit sharing, not a fixed interest return. So for example, on a term deposit, a conventional bank might be guaranteeing 3, 4, 5% fixed return for some long period of time. We guarantee no return. We say that whatever the profit is that month, we're going to share a percentage of that with you after we take a management fee. So my bank's deposit base of Islamic deposits is taking the sharp edge of the deal here if there's losses, credit losses on any of my Islamic financings. There's been several months, let's face it, we're in Michigan as well as nationwide, that we've taken losses and there's been zero payout to our depositors. So in a conventional bank, those losses would go to the shareholders, but in an Islamic bank, they're borne by the depositors.
Wow, very interesting. You are publicly traded, though, aren't you?
Yes, we are. The symbol is UNIB in the United States.
And we've got a stock chart for the last year. The stock has been growing rather significantly, almost doubling over the last little while. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for joining us. Enjoy your stay.
Thank you.
That was Stephen Ranzini, President and Chief Executive Officer of University Bank.